David Bowie was one of the most intriguing musicians of our time, reinventing himself continually and influencing countless others along the way. Bowie's theatrical flair, creativity, sexual ambiguity, and incredible music kept the public endlessly interested. With the September 16 release of Moonage Daydream, a 2022 documentary film about Bowie's life and career featuring previously unreleased footage, Stacker compiled a list of 25 things about David Bowie's life you may not know, drawing from news accounts, biographies, magazine interviews, and movie and music databases. He made more than 24 albums, including Blackstar, which was released just 2 days before his death. He played more than a dozen instruments, including a right-handed guitar, even though he was left-handed. Bowie's concept album, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy, Stardust, and the Spiders from Mars, introduced the world to his glam-rock persona in 1972. 4 years later, he starred in the film The Man Who Fell to Earth, and by the end of the 1970s, he kicked his drug habit and appeared in The Elephant Man on Broadway. 2 years after suffering a heart attack in 2004, Bowie performed 3 songs on stage with Alicia Keys in New York. It was his last performance. In the year following his death, Bowie and Blackstar won 4 Grammy Awards. The BBC reported in 2019 that David Bowie had won the broadcaster's viewer poll for the greatest entertainer of the 20th century, beating out Charlie Chaplin, Billie Holiday, and Marilyn Monroe. "I like crazy art and most of the time out there music," Bowie once said. "Rather than having a hit song these days, I like the idea that I'm in there changing the plan of what society and culture looks like, sounds like. I did change things. I knew I would. It feels great and very rewarding." David Bowie was born on January 8, 1947, as David Robert Hayward Jones in Brixton, London. His father, Hayward Stenton Jones, belonged to a well-off family with members who were partners in the public benefit boot company. Bowie became a jazz fan at age 13, started to play the saxophone. He attended Bromley Technical High School with Peter Frampton, whose father was the schoolmaster. When he was 15, he was punched in the eye by a friend. The injury left one of his pupils permanently dilated, making it appear that his blue eyes were 2 different colors. Bowie's single Space Oddity was released just days before the U.S. Apollo 11 launch to the moon. It was his breakthrough hit, reaching the top 5 in Britain. Bowie married model and actress Angela Barnett in March 1970. Their marriage lasted 10 years. As part of the divorce agreement, Barnett could not reveal details of their marriage for several years. In 1992, she released a memoir called Backstage Passes: Life on the Wild Side with David Bowie. Bowie released The Man Who Sold the World in late 1970. He made his trip to America to promote it the following spring. Duncan Zoe Hayward Jones was born to David Bowie and Angela Barnett on May 9, 1971. First called Zoe, Bowie's son later went by Joe and then by Duncan Jones. He became a writer and a director. Bowie released the iconic album The Rise and Fall of Ziggy, Stardust, and the Spiders from Mars in June of 1972. Many music fans first met Bowie's glam rock Ziggy Stardust persona when he appeared live on the 1972 Top of the Pops show. Bowie toured as Ziggy Stardust through the mid-1973. In 1972, Bowie produced Lou Reed's Transformer album with the hit song Walk on the Wild Side, as well as Raw Power, by Iggy and the Stooges and the Mott the Hooples, All the Young Dudes. He also wrote the title track on the Mott the Hoople album. In a magazine interview in 1972, Bowie said he was gay, but in a later interview in 1983 with Rolling Stone, he said he made that up, calling himself a closet heterosexual. At other times, he referred to himself as bisexual. The album Young Americans was released in 1975. It featured a collaboration with John Lennon on the song Fame, which became Bowie's first U.S. #1 single. R&B singer Luther Vandross performed backup vocals on the album. The musician starred in the 1976 sci-fi film The Man Who Fell to Earth. He played an alien who travels to Earth seeking help in saving his home planet. From 1977 to 1979, Bowie lived in the German capital and released what became known as his Berlin trilogy of albums, Low, Heroes, and Lager. After Bowie died, fans tried to have the street where he lived renamed to David Bowie Street. While touring in 1978, Bowie narrated Peter and the Wolf with the Philadelphia Orchestra. Now out of print, the album has become a collector's item. Released in 1983, Let's Dance quickly became Bowie's most commercially successful album, selling more than 7 million copies worldwide. The album's producer said it was made in just 17 days. Bowie and supermodel Eamon were married in 1992. Bowie's son Duncan Jones acted as best man. Bowie had proposed to Eamon under the Pont Neuf in Paris. Bowie and Eamon had a daughter, Alexandria Zara Jones, in 2001. Later that year, he gave a moving performance at the concert for the New York City at Madison Square Garden after the attacks of September 11. He played Simon and Garfunkel's song America and his own piece, Heroes. While touring to promote his album Reality, Bowie had a heart attack during a performance in Germany. He immediately underwent emergency angioplasty. On his 69th birthday, Bowie released his album Blackstar. 2 days later, he died of cancer. David Bowie died peacefully today, surrounded by his family after a courageous 18-month battle with cancer, a statement on his website read.